Great. It gives me great pleasure to bring back on stage Anita Mendiratta, Special Advisor to the UNWTO. But this particular session has been an absolute highlight for all of us. It's been one of the key sessions that we've all been looking for. And Anita, please come to the stage and tell us a little bit more about your session and your panelists.
Excellent. Assalamu alaikum and welcome back, everyone. And yes, full confession, we are extremely excited about this. I think Jonathan's excited because it's my last session for AHIC, so I don't have any surprises up my sleeve like yesterday. But as I say that, welcome also to the Jonathan Worsley Fan Club, which we're seeing as you're melting down all the social media postings for your recognition. But why are we excited about this session? Reason being, one of the most incredible things that's happening in the kingdom is the way in which it is incredibly developing sustainable tourism in a way that is truly groundbreaking. It is doing it not just from the point of view of environmental impact, but social, economic, cultural, and spiritual in many ways. So this session is an interesting one. Because as I've been saying through AHIC, Mother Nature has basically tamed us, sent us back to our rooms to think about, are we really looking at the future of tourism in a way that's smart, sustainable, and importantly, inclusive? And how do you do that when you're looking at the concept of luxury? So we have with us an exceptional panel that is going to be talking about what is at the core of Saudi Arabia's aspirations in Vision 20 and putting travel and tourism at the heart of unlocking the potential of the kingdom through especially luxury tourism development. This panel, however, is going to be different, because we're looking at it not just from the point of view of when people usually talk about luxury, it's about the bling, not when it comes to the kingdom. When the kingdom talks about luxury, it is about truly experiences that are emotive, immersive, unforgettable, and inclusive. I have to say, full disclosure, I have been incredibly blessed to have been on the advisory board of the Royal Commission for AlUla for the last 2.5 years, one of the most incredible opportunities of my life. And so with that, I welcome to the stage our first person who's going to be joining us. It's Amr AlMadani, the CEO of the Royal Commission for AlUla. Thank you, sir. Please. Excellent. We also have with us Oliver, who's joining us from Habitas, the CEO of Habitas, which is an incredible project we'll be talking about shortly. Oliver, please join us. And we have Mark Willis, who's the CEO from Accor, from India, Middle East, Africa, and Turkey. Please, gentlemen, thank you very, very much. And thank you for being here. And clearly, Jonathan, no one on the panel got the brief about the socks, the AHIC socks. So we're going to focus then on a very rich conversation. Thank you for being here. And thank you for being such an incredible part and partner of the kingdom itself. Now, in the next 24 minutes, I want to talk about the whole concept of luxury and how the kingdom is taking it on as a really core part of tourism development, but why it's different in the kingdom. Before we even get into anything strategic, I'd like to ask you all, 19 months ago, a number of words in our vernacular were very different than they are today. The word essential, we thought we were all essential. And then Mother Nature locked us down, and suddenly essential meant frontline workers, medics, people who stock the grocery stores, drivers of public transport. Words like resilience have taken on a new meaning. The word luxury has changed. How has the word luxury, in your mind, changed from 2019 to the new world of tourism in 2021? Mark, do you want us to have a go?
It's such a huge question, and people's perspectives over the last 19 months, of course, have changed. Not least around control of travel, inability to travel, full lockdown. You could comment on luxury being just being able to fly from one destination to the other. But as we can see, as we come out of the pandemic, especially in this part of the world across the Middle East, we're a little bit ahead of many other locations. You can see that the desire to travel and the desire to really have a fulfilling experience in that travel has gone up 2-3 levels. We see that at the hotels. We see that with regards to anything we're doing, actually. Even at such an event like this conference, you can see there is a super super additional motive to interact, enjoy the event to the fullest, whereas perhaps in other years you wouldn't have attended everything. I see people attending everything. Luxury and what it means for individuals, of course, that changes amongst people and their perspectives of what they perceive is luxury and a luxurious experience. But one thing is for sure, the desire to improve experience and have a fulfilling experience, that has improved and increased dramatically over the last 19 months for sure.
And you put it beautifully, because clearly it's not just the value of travel that has changed in the last 18, 19 months. The values of travel have changed. Amr, I'm going to jump to yourself. And if you can, before you answer the question, can you please give us a 60-second, what is AlUla and why is it so special?
Thank you. It's always amazing to be on stage with you, Anita, and our partners here. The vision for AlUla was simply set by His Royal Highness the Crown Prince, the chairman of the Royal Commission for AlUla, to be the world masterpiece, the place of heritage for the world. It's a 200,000 years accumulation of geological asset, human heritage, and unbelievable mysteries and stories of caravans passing by for many years ago. AlUla today possesses itself as an opportunity for people to not necessarily come and watch nature, but come and interact with it, live happily with the locals, and definitely not only take their stories, but leave their marks and stories in. It is the world's largest living museum.
Based on that, how do you, sir, define luxury in the future of tourism, especially in AlUla?
Thank you very much. I think this idea of luxury has been dominating a lot of fronts for media in the tourism space. Everybody wants luxury, and destinations seek to identify with customers that demand luxury. To us, we believe that luxury is not the goal. It is what we strive to achieve, is what we call authentic luxury, where the success of destinations stem primarily from the success of the people of the destination. I think the word luxury has survived the last 30 years to isolate segments that are benefiting from luxury and people in destinations that are suffering in conditions outside the confinement of resorts that tend to believe that they are contributing luxury. To us, the more this divergent, the more this contrast is closed, the more a true destination becomes an authentic luxury destination, and that is what AlUla strives to be.
And it's interesting you say that, because AlUla is genuinely, I can say, one of the few places in the world I've seen that luxury is about richness of experience, not just for the visitor, but for the visited. And you've been a real fighter for that, to ensure that that 70,000 community of people in AlUla benefit from the experience of tourism as much as those who are traveling as tourists, which has been unique. And then we take it to Oliver, because you, sir, are an interesting one. You have a remarkable product in Habitas, which one would not necessarily think works for the luxury segment, but now is the perfect time for it to do so. Can you tell us in 60 seconds, what is Habitas all about? And then I'll ask you to define your definition of luxury.
Sure. When we started Habitas, we weren't setting out to build a global hospitality company. We were, actually, to be honest with you, I didn't even know what an HMA was when we started the company. We really wanted to create a way of life, experiences, surround ourselves with like-minded people. And I think travel is such an incredible gift. The world now more than ever needs greater compassion. And travel is this gift that allows people to understand one another better. And so we weren't setting out to create hotels, we were setting out to create spaces where like-minded people can come and experience. And we were invited by Amr to create a home in AlUla, which has been an incredible journey and gift.
Because it is an exceptional opportunity for people to be able to engage in AlUla in a very different type of accommodation, but it's spectacular, absolutely spectacular, especially when you consider the speed at which you're able to actually put it together. How do you define luxury?
You know, I was just in AlUla visiting our project, and I had a conversation with one of our team members, who's a local Saudi girl, and I asked her, what is luxury for you? And she said to me, Luxury for me is going home, being with my family, and switching off my phone. And I think the modern concept of luxury is changing. And I think COVID has accelerated it, but this shift in global consciousness has been happening for a while. And luxury is the intangible, it's the feeling, it's experiences, the memories, the bonds that we create with one another. Because at the end of the day, it's not how fancy the marble lobby was or how nice the bathroom was in your room, it's the people you're with, the experiences that you have, and the memories you make. That's luxury.
Stunning. Please.
I must say that in the early stage of our development, we were lucky. Partners around the world who tried to engage with us and succeeded to break ground was our partners in Accor and Habitas. And I think they engaged with us intellectually to reconfigure this concept of luxury that we are now sort of able to cement a definition for it. The early movers such as Accor and Habitas and AlUla is something that we take to heart as a signal of trust, and together we'll offer something unique. And I wanted to thank our partners here who looked carefully with us at where are the treasures. And the treasures in AlUla are not necessarily in the buildings we built.
Yep.
The treasures have existed for a long, long time. It's the stories and the authenticity of what goes around the building and the context. And these places we'll build should be a safe place to sleep and then discover the living museum. So thank you very much.
It's a very good point, actually.
Indeed. And you make a really good, it's a perfect segue in
Yeah.
because we've seen that, and it's something I mentioned yesterday, we're not an integrated or an interconnected industry. We're basically interdependent. So the properties are now relying on the destinations and vice versa, and you're relying on the community. To that point, partnership has become vital, and not in a pre-COVID, let's talk public-private partnership. Now it's an imperative. It has to happen. I'd love to be able to speak about how now, for instance, Accor is working with destinations, with working with other companies, for instance, especially if we talk about Mantis and what you've done in bringing greater richness to the visitor experience through their interests that you know when it comes to conservation and environment. Please.
It's the partnership comment is a good one. If I look at the relationship that we have with the Royal Commission in AlUla, it's a fabulous project, and on paper, a simplistic project, a wonderful banyan tree infrastructure. On paper, it's simple. There is so much attention being placed on not disturbing the environment, which is, I don't know, for anybody that hasn't been, I don't know, I've visited 90 countries, I take 100 flights a year. I've never seen anything like AlUla. It's absolutely amazing. So this collaboration with your partner and what has been worked towards just been absolutely wonderful. Likewise with Mantis, we see such attraction with Mantis and the growth across the brand, across the area for the brand, interest of investors into ecotourism, something very different, whether it be luxury-tented community. That has really escalated in the last 4 or 5 years since Mantis has become part of Accor, but no more so than the last 24 months. And I really mean that, COVID aside. Interest in Mantis has been very, very good. New project coming in Bahrain, we have a project coming in Ras Al Khaimah, and some fabulous leads in the kingdom, which is obviously perfectly set up with some wonderful destinations, not only in AlUla, but across the kingdom as a whole. And everybody is aware of Vision 2030. The kingdom is opening its doors globally. And for me personally, I truly believe it'll become one of the top 5, if not in the top 10, global tourism destinations worldwide. It's absolutely spectacular. 20 plus UNESCO sites. AlUla as an example, as I mentioned, just unbelievable.
And it's important that you're saying that in terms of being able to recognize that opportunity and the need for those partnerships. Because I'm going to jump to you quickly from the point of view of, you and I have spent many, many months from the beginning of my relationship with the RCU talking about the community and the imperative of the community, and that AlUla is more than just what is God-given geologically and historically. And you've been brilliant in how you've recognized part of the luxury experience is bringing luxury brands on board and connecting them to the community. And when I was back in May, which was one of the first trips I'd taken since the last trip, which was just before COVID hit, your team showed me what you're doing with Piaget, with the artisans and the girls' school. Can you please share a little bit about that and how that feeds into the guest experience?
Thank you. I think this idea of local communities, the term is alienating to me. I think when you work somewhere, there is no local community in you. This is sort of like a CSR agenda that evolved in a way that you're coming to a place to change it. To us, it's like a community you live in is your community. It's wherever you live, it's your community. There is no local community to worry about because you're local after all. Throughout the past years, we wanted to see people for what they could be, not what they are today. We wanted to see land for what it could be and its potential. And to do that, we wanted to make sure we're not short on exploring with innovative thinkers who can even redefine the beauty of what we have. And Piaget, Cartier, and others came on actually to discover with us what their future luxury could be inspired by and how can they inspire the local artisan to raise their game and be part of that. We've run a couple of programs with these brands, and I think when you see a local, one of our community girls sitting next to a global designer from Piaget, co-designing jewelry inspired by AlUla, I think I'm speechless. I mean, this is what I believe true authentic luxury could become a real thing, where it's everybody's right to think big of themselves.
Indeed, and I love the fact that you're saying it is those younger people who are also going to be younger travelers, and that's where, Oliver, I'm going to take it to you for a moment, because the Habitas brand, the offering itself, is not a traditional, again, luxury brand when you think about people who are older with the platinum cards are comfortable paying certain amounts. Luxury has become younger, but it's become different. Why is Habitas now perfectly placed to be able to pull in that younger market in the luxury segment?
I think it's because we're creating an experience for ourselves. When I booked to come here, I called up American Express and I asked for a room, and they sold me a 500 square foot room with a nice tub, and that is not really what I was necessarily looking for. But it was very interesting coming to Saudi Arabia for the first time and being invited there. I had somewhat of a preconception, and I was blown away first and foremost by the people that I met, and also the trust that Amir put into us. And I think what's amazing right now to see going on is that the vision of AlUla is so closely aligned to what Habitas is trying to do. And I thought I'd never say that kind of going in because, we're a brand focusing on new consciousness, on sustainability, on wellness. And we're being invited to participate in a project in a very transformational moment in the history of your country. And it's truly magical, and it's a real partnership. We would not have succeeded if it wasn't for Amr's leadership and entrepreneurship. Last night we met at 1 a.m. to discuss these features and those features.
We're going to have many more nights later until we open, but that's okay.
Yeah. But one of the things we said was nature wins. We can't beat nature. I mean, nature, we can't out-design nature, we can't outspend nature. And I think that's what's very unique about AlUla. It's truly, truly magnificent.
Perfect. I'm going to now use the last 8.5 minutes and flip it around. We've been talking a lot about the supply side of luxury. We've talked about what is offered, how the market has changed. I want to flip it to the demand side now. And building on what you were saying about how travelers have changed, when we now look at destination development, property development, hotel development, experience development, what do we know to be true about not what visitors, travelers are wanting, but what they're expecting in the new world of travel? Amr, you have a really interesting point of view on this.
Yeah, I think it's a very competitive landscape today. People have multiple destinations to choose from, and a destination needs to remain fit and keep investing and come back. So while the world has seen some dip in tourism traffic, and I appreciate that this affected the whole supply chain financially as well, I think people are resilient enough in a year or two to restore back the traffic. The question is, who will be positioned to capture that traffic?
Yes.
In AlUla, we remain today very consistent. So far, we have completed our 7 billion early project program. We built one of our most essential, unique assets, Maraya, to welcome the world back again. And by the way, soon enough, everybody will be welcome to an unbelievable 6 months of seasonality. We call it AlUla Moments. So stay tuned to see performances and unbelievable F&B offers, including the opening of 2 resorts soon. We're betting on a future that is, our differentiator is clear. We will be always a place where when you come, you will not distinguish between being a resort and meeting a local. It will be authentic, it will take you in, and you will participate from your arrival. And I think as long as destination know what they're good for, you'll be able to capture the target segment you're after.
Brilliant, thank you. Oliver, from your perspective.
We're seeing tremendous demand, and we're seeing an incredible shift. I can see this especially in our Mexico properties, how during COVID people were buying one-way tickets to our property and setting up home, setting up office and working there, and naturally actually coming into us and saying, can we buy a home here? And it's one of the things that we're now looking at as well is again, to kind of create residences around what we're building. But I think this shift that's happening right now is only going to continue to get stronger. You know, it's very exciting to be in this moment in time.
Indeed, it is exciting. It's challenging, it can be unnerving, but it's incredibly exciting. Mark, from your perspective.
I mean, we're all aware certain segments of the business are relatively flat, even in this part of the world where, as I mentioned before, we're performing quite well amongst all the brands. But group business, MICE business, has yet to take off, of course, not only here but everywhere else. But demand within the leisure segment has been clear throughout COVID, even in periods last year, 6 months into COVID, with much of the world locked down. Those areas that were able to open up for business, Dubai being one, for instance, saw huge interest in travel from a leisure perspective, and that was also extended very much so as people sought a luxury experience, and you can see that with key destinations here, the Palm, etc., etc. As we see things start to open up again and travel return in a little bit of more of a broader fashion, and again, AHIC being fully attended is a good example of that. So business travel also returning. You can see people are actively looking. I'm seeing statistics from Google search. They're looking for destination, a luxury experience, something very different than perhaps they would have thought of before. So people are searching for that next level. And yeah, I think going forward, you'll see this trend of the customer searching for something special increase and increase. And in destinations such as AlUla, they will definitely find it, that's for sure.
I think special is a really good word to use, and that's going to take us into our last few minutes, because Amr, you mentioned Mariah, and as you know, I'm the daughter of an architect. And if there's anything that COVID has brought into the heart of a traveler, it's humility and the sense of blessing of being able to travel. And to me, Mariah is one of the most, oh my goodness, exquisite buildings.
Unbelievable.
Because it's not there.
Yeah.
It's just, I've never seen a piece of architecture invisible, and its entire design is based on projecting the environment around it. It is just spectacular. So for that reason, I'm going to give you each 60 seconds to wrap up. We've seen the last 18 months. You are all incredible travel and tourism professionals, practitioners, but this time has changed us all. Why are you a better leader in luxury because of COVID-19? Mark.
What a killer question, by the way. I think, if anything, pre-COVID, amongst all of us in the industry, we were talking heavily about customer personalization, and it was a good theme. We were talking about it, but not really doing much with it, I have to say, in all honesty, or definitely not doing enough. And if anything, over the last 12 months, and especially over the last 6, you can see there's a massive need for us to change our mindset with regards to that. A bedroom, fine. A wonderful food and beverage experience, fine. People are really looking for a personal touch, recognition of who they are, what their expectation is. And again, I use the word special. People haven't traveled for 18 months. Believe me, their expectation has increased, and they really want a special, personalized experience.
Indeed. Oliver.
It's been a very humbling, I guess, 18 months from building a business where COVID hits, and all of a sudden everything stops, and you're responsible for the lives of hundreds of people. And we're a small business, but growing. And then equally, the responsibility that we have in the local communities in which we're in, and seeing how people are struggling during this time, and how important the jobs, the family, the homes that we kind of were empowering and creating. And so, going through this process, it really wasn't easy, but coming out of it, seeing how loyal, just the dedication that the team on the ground have now kind of, how they feel for what we're creating. It's a real sense of community.
It's a beautiful angle. Thank you. Amr, you are, as I've told you 1,000 times, one of the finest leaders I've ever had the blessing of working with. How you become better, I'm not quite sure.
No, there is a long way.
You are for it.
No, thank you. I believe that, honestly, it's the world has suffered, no wonder. This was not easy. It's a new type of jointly understood and accepted pandemics, but I think 2035 as a vision has taught us a very primary lesson in Saudi Arabia. We have to stop admiring the problem. Together we have people here who are investors, who are shapers of business model of companies, and we should work together to create larger context to swallow this problem. The success of Saudi Arabia's tourism ambition, AlUla being a gateway to North Arabia, near unbelievable successful projects, Ripley, AMALA, and with the dream of reinventing humanity living in Neom, every one of you is welcome to engage and come and make this a reality, because that moves the world economics and supply chain and improve it, and we all benefit. So while we appreciate this problem, we're very committed to continue the pace of realizing our program, and hopefully together we can create conditions where COVID-19 become part of the past.
Beautifully said. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in a loving shukran for our panel today. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
And Jonathan, thank you.
I just wanted to say a few additional words. First of all, Amr, you came on board immediately when when COVID hit in March. In April, we called you, said we're launching hospitality tomorrow. You joined us immediately. You said, yes, we need to communicate. And then you continued communicating with the industry. So thank you for that. Oliver, this is the first time you've been here with us. Thank you for flying in. We love what you're doing. And I love the way the industry generally is supporting companies like yourselves who are trying to start up, trying to get going, and we're all in it together. So thank you for what you're trying to do, how you're trying to change the industry for the better. Mark, I think you've been at every one of our events, right from...
I'm not getting any younger, that is for sure.
We need to give you that little badge there. But no, I appreciate your support, and also I just can't, I have no idea the challenges you as a leader running a big company in this region have gone through over the last 18 months. I mean, I have a small team, you have hundreds, thousands of people.
For luck, I work with the most amazing people, and if anything, the last 18 months has taught me it's severe humility and admiration for those people around me. Just wonderful to see.
Fantastic. And Anita, I can't say any more, but thank you so much for flying in and joining us and doing such an exceptional job moderating our sessions this week, the last 3 days. So thank you, Anita. If everybody can show their appreciation to a wonderful panel.
Thank you.
Thank you.